And so what's the long-term plan with real estate? Like what's the goal that you're working towards? I often find a lot of investors cheat themselves by excluding things like property management or repairs and maintenance,
Yeah.
which really is just lying to themselves, because what happens is once you've acquired a handful of properties, you now feel like, well, in theory, I'm supposed to be making cash flow, so I should be able to quit my job. But then they look at it and they're like, oh, well, what I've really done is just create a low-paying job for myself. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here with another episode of Deal Destruction. On tonight's episode, we've got Sean. Hey, Sean, how's it going?
What's up, Deal Destruction?
Awesome. And so if you guys are new to Deal Destruction, it's a newer show here on my YouTube channel. Deal Destruction is really just about diving deep into the details behind individual deals that either YouTube viewers are considering buying, or in this case with Sean, this is actually a deal that we've already bought. So this is going to be a little bit of a different Deal Destruction episode, but I'm still excited to dive deep into the numbers. Before we get into this project, Sean, do you mind just breaking down for the audience, what's been your experience to date so far with real estate investing?
Yeah, so I bought my first house that I'm in right now back 6 years ago. So before everything went crazy. And then I obviously noticed how much this price has jumped in this place in 6 years. So in 2016, I refied and bought another house down the road that was operating as an illegal duplex.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put like 35 grand or 40 grand into that to bring it up to code. And, I refied it for 135 grand more. Rents are 3,100 for a 2-bedroom up and a 1-bedroom down right now, all inclusive because the utilities aren't split there. But so that was my first deal. And now this is my second deal. I have a friend who partnered with me on this one. So
nice. And so I'm just going to bring it up here on screen just so we can kind of check it out. But it looks like, a nice house. Is it the one on the left or the right here?
So it's the one on the left with that Ford Escape. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And so you wrote down just kind of a basic description here. So bought a house. Oh, sorry. This was actually for the other one. So this one we bought for $440.
Yeah.
And then what are you thinking for renovations?
We have a $40,000 budget.
40,000. Okay. And what's that going to include?
So we're going to split the hydro meters.
Yep.
We've got a furnace, a roof, and then kitchen is already roughed in. So it's just cabinets and cosmetic stuff because the kitchen was already there. So it's just going to be new. Bathroom, same deal, but it's already roughed in. We're just putting new fixtures. And then basically fire separation. So drywall.
Okay. So on your previous project, you did something similar already and you were able to do that for 40,000?
Yeah. So the previous one was, there was some structural issues with clearance for the head height.
Yeah.
And then it was just all drywall because it was already same deal, already roughed in. So that price, that number looks low for what we're doing there. It's because, I'm a master electrician. I'm going to be splitting the hydro myself.
Okay, I was just going to ask if you were doing some work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing pretty much we've subbed out the drywall because it's 5/8 and that's a lot of work. So we got other guys doing the drywall, taping. So my partner's been framing. I've been doing the electrical. We hired a plumber to do a little bit of putting laundry upstairs and moving the laundry downstairs, and then just removing some water lines. So there's a little bit of plumber in there, and then we're getting a roofer. My buddy's doing the roof, so we're. It's beer and them shingles.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So that
the
makes
number's
a lot
low.
more sense now. Yeah.
The number's definitely low. I know I put this on the Cashflow Tribe beta, and I got a lot of we're paying 100 grand for second suites.
Yeah.
Well, this one was already there's no windows that need egress because they all meet code for light. There's no ceiling height problems. The bulkhead's already framed in. So
gotcha.
Yeah. The number's low.
And so we'll be 480 all into it once you're done your renovations and sweat equity. What do you figure the property's worth?
So we on low end, the finish, we're gonna shoot for 575.
575?
Yeah, that's our low target.
And what do you think the high end is?
6.
Okay, gotcha. And then is this a buy and hold for you guys? Is this something you plan on keeping?
Yeah, it's a buy and hold.
And so what's the long-term plan with real estate? Like what's the goal that you're working towards?
So the goal I'm working towards is to like get enough of these buy and holds where, I can't like really get mortgages by myself anymore. And then I have like 5 is my goal, solely owned BRRRRs basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can quit my Monday to Friday and go start my own electrical business and start joint venture partnering with people and just keep these going in the Barrie, Simcoe area.
Okay. And then so what do you normally, like on the previous property or even on this one, what does the actual cash flow look like here?
So the cash flow is on both of them basically is about $500 a month.
Okay. And what's that look like? So for rent, roughly what are we getting?
So this one, in Barrie, $1,800 for a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
Is going rate. And basement 16.
16.
For
Okay.
2-bedroom down, yeah.
And then they're paying their own utilities and stuff?
They're paying hydro. So
okay.
we didn't split the gas and we didn't split the water.
And so what's that, like 150 a month?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And then property taxes, what would that look like?
So they're $3,800, which is about like $310, $315 a month.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then insurance?
Yeah, insurance is going to be about $120.
Okay. And then what do you normally do, like property management, vacancy and bad debt and stuff like that, or repairs and maintenance?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we are going to manage it, but we still run 8%.
Excellent. Okay. And then do you normally put anything in for like a vacancy or repairs and maintenance?
Yeah, repair and maintenance, we have a 150 here.
150
on a monthly,
okay.
Yeah. And vacancy, we have 1% in. I mean, Barrie is a hot rental market, I'd say.
Gotcha.
My experience, yeah.
Okay. Any other expenses that we haven't really accounted for here other than debt service? I think we've got everything.
I think we got it, yeah. We're about 850 or something, 900.
Yeah, this works out to just about 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
And then do you know, so like when you go to refinance it, you're going to probably get a new mortgage for about $460,000, right? At a 80% loan to value. If we get our 575. So in essence, once you're done with this property, you'll maybe have 20,000 tied into the deal, but that's it. Yeah. Otherwise a free property. Do you know roughly what you expect your mortgage to be on the 460 here?
The payment? On the 575 at 80%, just over $2,000.
Okay. So we'll just put it at 2,000. So, okay. Yeah. So we're coming out to almost exactly $400 a month in gross rents.
Just less than 4 in this.
Makes sense. And then, so the idea is you're just going to accumulate kind of 3 more properties like this over time, cash flow $400 or $500 each a month. And then that's kind of like your, I often talk about on my YouTube channel, kind of like financial fortress of solitude, right? Do you want to get control of your financial life? Do you want to crush it in real estate with wholesaling? Do you want to join my full-time team of wholesalers like Mike or Shahir? Or what about Tyler or Diego? Or what about Amar? All right, and what do we do, boys?
We make offers, we buy fast. Never gonna miss a deal cause we pay cash. Offers, 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 deals, deals, deals. Tell us, Mr. Seller, what price do you feel? Cause we're Southwestern's biggest source of deals. Boom!
So if you guys want to crush it with wholesaling, you need to join my team. And down below, video description, there's all the links you need. And then, so the idea is you're just going to accumulate kind of 3 more properties like this over time, cash flow $400 or $500 each a month. And then that's kind of like your, I I often talk about on my YouTube channel, kind of like financial fortress of solitude, right? Like your lean fire amount. So
Yeah,
I'm going to guess you'd be kind of living for free plus having that $2,000 a month kind of from the 5 different
exactly.
properties.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think like it's a solid fire plan, very similar to what I originally started out doing. The numbers you're doing are a little bit different, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it still seems to be working. So, um,
Yeah,
and
it's
the
a
fact,
different market.
yeah, and the fact you're doing the labor yourself and stuff definitely saves you money. I think the one thing long term that you'll have to look towards, Sean, is really just if and when you want to scale your real estate investing.
Mhm.
Obviously, you working for free isn't very scalable long term.
For sure.
So again, a lot of investors, when they first start this, they will kind of cheat. And I cheated at the start too by using my own labor for free, right? Because it's just an easy way to kind of juice your numbers. And at the same
Mhm.
time, when you've got more time than money, it can make a lot of sense to invest your time by working on your properties, especially when you've got a high skill like being an electrician.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it seems like a solid business plan to me. I think for myself, the biggest thing is just with time, you're probably going to want to try and find better sources of deals just so
Yeah,
you don't always have to be doing the work yourself. Um,
for sure. Yeah, and bidding wars on MLS is not going to cut it for
mhm.
a
And so,
scalable
what was
business.
this property originally listed for?
425.
Okay. And did you guys have to go in 440 cash, like
Yeah.
firm? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like they listed on Thursday and we're holding offers till Monday. So we did a bully offer for 430. They said no. Then we went back at 440.
Gotcha.
And there was
How,
450 and 460 on the table, but the conditions.
Gotcha. And so, how high were you willing to go, or at what point would you have decided it was too much?
That was our max right there. We lost a couple good deals before because we weren't going to go over 400. We were like, I
Hmm.
think I like it through COVID. I walked through like 4 or 5 houses. So I'm like putting on the mask and the gloves, and so we were just losing like good deals because we wouldn't go over 4. So that was our max right there. Is like our numbers. Like we had to get a private mortgage to fund this until the refi because the banks were asking for 25% down at that point, and we would have been cash strapped to do
Gotcha.
this thing.
Um, so is there an exact business model you're implementing here? Why was 440 the highest you were willing to go?
Well, just the amount of cash we had in the bank,
Hmm.
and I mean the market. It's like we know we can't get much more than 6 for any of these in this neighborhood that we're in.
Yeah,
So it just wouldn't work any higher for us anyway.
gotcha.
You can see like
Awesome,
cash flow's
Sean.
low enough. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, like a few just kind of general comments. I really do like the fact that even though you guys are doing your own property management, that you are accounting for it because a lot of investors in markets like Barrie or Hamilton or fringe parts of the GTA, you can get cash flow in those markets, but I often find a lot of investors cheat themselves by excluding things like property management or repairs and maintenance,
Yeah.
which really is just lying to themselves. Because what happens is once you've acquired a handful of properties, you now feel like, well, in theory, I'm supposed to be making cash flow, so I should be able to quit my job. But then they look at it and they're like, oh, well, what I've really done is just create a low paying job for myself as being my own property manager. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad that you guys are doing that. I think definitely like the path you're following is a very common path. I see a lot of people, like a lot of successful people in the trades undertake. So again, there's definitely a history of success for this sort of approach.
Mhm.
So I think you're in a great position. The only thing that I see with a lot of people that implement this business model is they never get good at finding deals. And so what ends up happening, Sean, is like you're a young, aggressive guy right now. It's
Mhm.
probably easier for you to invest the time on nights and weekends to work on your own project. But eventually their time becomes more and more scarce. And they end up most often just kind of quitting real estate because they never got good at finding deals. Really, their only cheat code was working for free. And again, that eventually gets old, especially as your skill set continues to develop and you can either get paid more at work or there's just other things competing for your time.
Yeah.
So I would really encourage you guys, if you want to look at doing real estate on a larger scale, like scaling past those first 4 or 5 properties, then you're going to either need to really refine this business model by primarily, I think, just saving money on the buy, or looking for alternative investment strategies and building out something that's a bit more replicatable, where you're not just depending upon, being free labor.
Right. Yeah. So also there's in Barrie, we can add a third unit to this property.
Okay.
A garden suite, a detached unit in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a new thing that's coming out in Barrie. We have our drawings. We just got the permit set for them. So we'll be submitting those and adding 2 bedroom, 2 bath kind of deal. It's got to be a 500 square foot footprint.
That's
and
awesome.
It can't go high. But so the realtor that we're working with that helped us with this is got the drawing. So we put a basement in it to get more square footage without going too high. Yeah. So that's going to have its own hydro and its own gas meter.
That's
we're
awesome.
We're working on the budget, trying to figure out how to tie in the utilities into
so
the backyard.
roughly what does that look like for cost of construction?
Like ballpark right now, we have 120K in our mind. We're not really sure about the utilities, but the square footage with the kitchen and the bathrooms, we can calculate all that.
Yeah. And what do you expect it'll get in rent?
We're hoping it's going to get 18.
Okay. That's a good return.
Utilities. Yeah.
And that actually definitely increases the overall return on this property
of this deal,
as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what, that's a new thing, but we're going to definitely push ahead and go for that too.
Awesome. Yeah. That definitely just helps juice up your returns a bit, right? That's probably going to add another 500, like that would more than double your cash flow, I'd expect.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Sean.
Yeah, we're going for that.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this episode. It's a pretty straightforward deal. Definitely the fact you've already done this before gives me confidence that you know your numbers. Otherwise, I think like most people, I would be a little bit scared about your renovation budget. But again, you being in the trades, I trust you that you know what's up. And otherwise, again, just really glad that you guys are putting in a property management vacancy and repairs and maintenance reserve, because if you want to be doing this 10, 20 years from now, odds are you don't want to be the property manager, and making sure that you've budgeted correctly is absolutely critical to that. Before we wrap up, Sean, any other questions that you had about this deal or anything else you wanted to pick my brain on?
No, like maybe financing this backyard unit.
Okay. Yeah. So those are going to be interesting just because there's probably not a long history of people doing those.
Exactly. So the banks haven't caught up, and they won't mortgage the house with it, basically.
Yeah. I'm going to guess your best friend is going to be a couple creative mortgage brokers. So I would really start focusing on building those relationships now and chatting with them, and just make sure that you can clearly explain what you're trying to do here. And also, Sean, if you plan on doing this more than once, make sure that you let them know that, right? Because one thing some mortgage agents might be like, that sounds like a lot of work to do this once. But if you're like, hey, man, this is actually going to be a business model, I plan on doing a couple of these a year, then it at least entices them a little bit more to want to learn it if they can see that they're going to get paid more than once by learning how to finance this sort of deal. And as well, even sometimes you might assume that they can see the A to B, but sometimes we really have to lead them there. So I would also be like, and not only am I really interested in doing this, but I imagine a lot of other investors are going to be looking towards, these carriage homes or whatever, like third dwelling units. And definitely I think that will be true as well, especially if you're able to build it at that cost. If other investors are able to do so as well, that would be very attractive, especially in markets like Barrie, where your cost per unit is getting up there.
Cool. Yeah. So I can shop this house, and my other house has the appropriate size lot for one of those.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
We can go too.
All right. Well, thanks, Sean.
Yeah, man. Thank you.